Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is subject of general science and it is lecture number 24. Today our topic is parts and structures of animal cells. The outlines of the lectures are introduction about the main topic, definition of cell, cell parts and structure, and its explanation. First of all, what is definition of cell? A cell is the smallest unit that is capable of performing life functions, and it varies in both size and forms. And cytology, this is the study of cells. Cell in biology, the basic membrane bound unit that contains the fundamental molecules of life and of which all living things are composed. A single cell is often a complete organism in itself, such as bacterium or yeast. Other cells acquire specialized functions as they mature. The cell, that is from Latin cella, meaning small room. This is a basic structural, functional, and biological unit of all known organisms. A cell is the smallest unit of life. Cells are often called the building blocks of life, and the study of cell is called cell biology, cellular biology, or cytology. So the cells consist of cytoplasms enclosed within a membrane which contains many biomolecules such as proteins and nucleic acids. So most plants and animal cells are only visible under a light microscope with dimensions between 1 and 100 micrometers. Electron microscopy gives a much higher resolution showing greatly detailed cell structure. Organisms can be classified as unicellular, multicellular. Unicellular means consisting of singular cell such as bacteria, and multicellular means including plants and animals having many cells. So most unicellular organisms are classed as microorganisms. The number of cells in plants and animals varies from species to species, and it has been estimated that humans contains somewhere around 40 trillion cells, and the human brain accounts for around 80 billion of these cells. So cells were discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665, so who named them for their resemblance to cell inhabited by Christian monk in the monastery. Cell theory, this is first developed by Matthews Jacob in 1839, and Sheldon and Theodore Schwann states that all organisms are composed of one or more cells, and that cells are fundamentally unit of structure and functions in all living organisms, and that all cells comes from pre-existing cells, and cell emerged on earth at least 3.5 billion years ago. Animal cells are typically of eukaryotic cells enclosed by a plasma membrane and containing a membrane bound nucleus and organelles. Cell parts and structures. You can here see the different parts of the different parts and structures, like mitochondria, where aspirations take place and energy is produced. Then nuclear membrane, nucleus is there where DNA occurs in the nucleus within strands of chromatin. Then Golgi apparatus, cell membrane is there, and centrioles is there. Endoplasmic reticulum is there, and cytoplasm, like this is gel-like fluid inside the cell, and ribosomes. These are the sites where proteins are synthesized, and nucleus is there, and lysosomes. Organelles and their functions. Cell membrane is there, outer membrane of cell that controls movement in and out of the cells. Double layer is like phospholipid bilayer is there. Animal cells, remembers that such as those within your body do contain a cell membrane which forms the outside of the cells, and the cell membrane is semi-permeable, which means it will only allow certain atoms to pass through. The animal cell membrane is capable of performing this second task because of the protein embedded within it. So what is the function of the cell membrane in an animal cells? So the plasma membrane or the cell membrane provides protections for the cells, and it also provides a fixed environment inside the cell, and that membrane has several different functions. So one is to transport nutrients into the cell and also to transport toxic substances out of the cells. So animal cells and plant cells. So where is the cell membrane in the animal cells? So these include the chloroplast, the large central vacuoles, as well as the cell wall. And in plant, the cell membrane is located between the cell cytoplasms and the cell wall. As is the case with animal cells, the cell membrane is plant as a lipid bilayer. As nucleus, it directs cell's activities and contains genetic material, DNA, and is separated from cytoplasms by nuclear membrane. Now, what is nucleus? The nucleus is a membrane-bound organelle that contains genetic material like DNA of eukaryotic organisms. So, as such, it serves to maintain the integrity of the cells by facilitating transcription and replication processes. So, it's the largest organelle inside the cell, taking up about the tenth of the entire cell volume. In cell biology, the nucleus, from Latin nucleus or nucleus, means kernel or seed. This is a membrane-bound organelle found in eukaryotic cells, and eukaryotes usually have a single nucleus, but a few cell types such as mammalian red blood cells have no nuclei, and a few others including osteoclasts have many. So the main structures making up the nucleus or the nuclear envelope, a double membrane that encloses the entire organelle and isolates its contents from the cellular cytoplasms, and the nuclear matrix, so which includes the nuclear lamina and the network within the nucleus that adds mechanical support, much like the cytoskeleton supports the cell as a whole. So the cell nucleus contains all of the cell's genome except for the small fraction of mitochondria like DNA organized as a multiple long linear DNA molecules in a complex with a larger variety of proteins such as histones to form chromosomes, and the genes within these chromosomes are structured in such a way to promote cell functions. So the nucleus maintains the integrity of genes and controls the activities of the cell by recording gene expressions. So the nucleus is therefore the control center of the cells. So because the nuclear envelope is impermeable to large molecules, so nuclear pores are required to regulate nuclear transport of molecules across the envelope. So the pores cross both nuclear membrane, providing the channel through which larger nucleus must be actively transported by carrier proteins while allowing free movement of small molecules and ions. Then there is a nuclear membrane. It's round nucleus and made up of two layers. Openings allow material to enter and leave nucleus. A nuclear membrane is a double membrane that encloses the cell nucleus, and it serves to separate the chromosomes from the rest of the cells. And the nuclear membrane includes an array of small holes or pores that permits the passage of certain materials such as nucleic acids and proteins between the nucleus and cytoplasms. And if we ask that where is the nucleus membrane found, so we can answer it like that. The nuclear membrane, also called the nuclear envelope, this is a double membrane layer that separates the content of the nucleus from the rest of the cells. So it is found in both animals and plant cells, and a cell has many jobs such as building proteins, covering molecules into energy, and converting molecules into energy, and removing waste products. So the nuclear envelope is composed of the two concentric lipid bilayer membranes separated by an intermembrane space of about 20 to 40 nanometer. So the outer membrane is continuous in many places with a rough endoplasmic reticulum. So like the rough ER, the outer membrane of the nuclear envelope is dotted with the ribosomes. So the nuclear membrane, also called the nuclear envelope, this is a double membrane layer that separates the contents of nucleus from the rest of the cells. Now, what are the chromosomes? Chromosomes are thread-like structures located inside the nucleus of animals and plant cells. Each chromosome is made of proteins and a single nucleus of deoxyribonucleic acids, and that is passed from parents to offspring. And DNA contains the specific instructions that made each type of living creatures unique. This remains in nucleus and made up of DNA and contains instructions for traits and characteristics. We can also explain it that a chromosomes is long DNA molecules with the part of all of the genetic material of an organism. So most eukaryotic chromosomes include packaging proteins called histones, which added by chaperones proteins bind to and condense the DNA molecules to maintain its integrity. So these chromosomes display a complex three-dimensional structure which plays a significant role in transcriptional regulations. Then nucleolus is there. This remains inside the nucleus, and it contains RNA to build proteins, ribosomes to formation, and the nucleus of eukaryotic cells, and it is the best known as site of ribosomes biogenesis. And nuclei also participates in the formation of signal recognition particles and play a role in a cell's response to stress. So nucleoli are made up of proteins and DNA and RNA, and form around specific chromosomal regions are called nuclear organizing regions. Then cytoplasm is there. This is just like a gel-like mixture and surrounded by cell membrane, and it contains hereditary material. Cytoplasm, basically this is a thick solution that fills each cell's end enclosed by the cell membrane, and it is mainly composed of water, salts, and proteins. In eukaryotic cells, the cytoplasm includes all the material inside the cells and outside the nucleus. And in cell biology, the cytoplasm is all of the material within the cell enclosed by cell membrane except for the cell nucleus. So the material inside the nucleus and contained within the nucleus membrane is termed the nucleoplasm. So the main component of the cytoplasms are cytosols. This is just like a gel-like substance, and the organelles. This is just like the cell's internal substructures and various cytoplasmic inclusions. The cytoplasm is about 80% water and usually colorless. Then endoplasmic reticulum is there. It moves material around in cell, and this is smooth type, lacks ribosomes and transport by vesicles formations and lipid synthesis in some cells. This is rough type as pictured, ribosomes embedded in surface and transport and protein synthesis. Endoplasmic reticulum in biology, this is a continuous membrane system that forms a series of flattened sacs within the cytoplasms of eukaryotic cells and serves multiple functions, being important particularly in the synthesis, folding, modification, and transport of proteins. So the endoplasmic reticulum is in essence the transportation system of the eukaryotic cells and has many other important functions such as protein folding, and it is a type of organelle made up of two subunits and rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Then ribosomes are there. Each cell contains 1000 and embedded on rough EOR and floating throughout the cells make proteins. Ribosomes are minute particles consisting of RNA and associate proteins that functions to synthesize proteins, and proteins are needed for many cellular functions such as repairing damage or directing chemicals processes, and ribosomes can be found floating within a cytoplasms and are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. Ribosomes are macromolecular machines found within all living cells that perform biological protein synthesis, mRNA translations, we can say, and ribosomes link amino acids together in the order specified by the codons of messengers RNA molecules to form polypeptides chains. So ribosomes consist of two major components, the small and large ribosomal subunits, and each subunits consist of one or more ribosomal RNA molecules, and many ribosomal proteins and the same the ribosomes and associated molecules are also known as the translational apparatus. Other ones are mitochondria. These are just like a spherical to rod-shaped organelles with a double membrane, and this is a powerhouse of the shell and produces energy throughout the chemical reactions and breaking down fats and carbohydrates, controls level of water and other materials in cell, and recycles and decomposes proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Then Golgi bodies are there, membrane bound vesicles of the flattened sacs and stacks parallel to each other, proteins packaging move materials within and out of the cells. So the Golgi apparatus, also called Golgi complex or Golgi body, is a membrane bound organelle found in eukaryotic cells that is made up of series of flattened stacked punches called cisterine. Then lysosomes is there, that surrounds organelles surrounded by the membrane and containing digestive enzymes. Digestive plants of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, and transports undigested material to cell membrane for removal, and cell breaks down if lysosomes exports. Then vacuoles is there, membrane enclosed body contain numerous enzymes, and membrane bound sacs for storage, digestions, and waste removal contains water solutions. Then centrioles and microtubules. Centrioles means these cylindrical structures that organize the assembly of microtubules during cell divisions, and microtubules hollow, this is just type of hollow rods that functions primarily to help support and shape the cells. Then macrofilament is there. These are solid rods made up of globular proteins called actin, and are common to all eukaryotic cells. So these are primarily structural in function and are an important components of the cytoskeleton along with the microtubules. Then cytoskeleton is there. This is a network of fiber throughout the cell's cytoplasms that gives the cell support and helps to maintain its shape. Then peroxisome is there. This is enzyme containing structure that help to detoxify alcohol, form bile acids, and break down fats. Then cilia and flagella. This specialized grouping of microtubules that protrude from some cells and aid in cellular locomotions. Then this is the anatomy of the animal cells. Now, what is the importance of these animal cells? Like, in order for cells to function and survive, their organelles work together to carry out specific tasks and perform specific roles, and each organelle has its own role that contributes to the survival of the cell. So this is all about this lecture. Very much. Take care. Allah Hafiz.